And hello and welcome once again to Toy Soldiers Old School. This is episode 71, Emergency War Measures Part 2. I hope you like the new look. We figured it was worth putting some effort into it. So, I noticed that our audience has been growing lately and we want to reach out and reward that. So thank you very much for making this show a success. For a long time, the show has been one of the least watched on this channel, actually, and that our writing and world building streams have gotten a bigger audience, but that's not true anymore. And I appreciate it because I love this game and I love my friends and I love having an opportunity to play with them and to do this with you guys. So, all right, my name is Diane Morrison. I am the creator of the Toy Soldiers Saga. Online, I am known as Sable Aradia, and I am the GM for this evening. I also, when I am not GMing, play Celine Wintermist. Commodore Celine Wintermist now. She is an idealistic young priestess who joined the Avalonian Imperial Navy in order to see the universe and maybe help some people out along the way. Now she's at war, and she's found sisters, and she's an imperial princess in secret, and things are really freaking complicated. My and her pronouns are she or they. Let's go to Rowan.
First, Rowan checks to make sure her mic's on. Yes, it is. Hi, everybody. I'm Rowan on the internet, and I run a game on Saturdays or on Sunday afternoons called Wayreth on Dr. PDQ's channel. And soon we'll be running a side simultaneous one with Toy Soldiers between me and Arian. Anyways, I play VonVin. She's our local druid. She joined the Navy, wound up in the Marines, found sisters and family. She's an imperial princess in secret, and then moved on to the Marines in bug suits and is now engaged to the king to be Xerxes. Mine and her pronouns are she, her.
I'm
Sorry,
Tat.
sorry, I was muted. Yeah, thank you. Let's move over to Taz.
Hi, my name is Taz, also known as Gmino99 on the internet. I play Ardent Spellsword, a Magus Kensai crafter. Pronouns are he, him. Yep.
Awesome. All right, and we'll move down to Dawn.
Hi, I'm Dawn. I play Yasma Snowwind. I was an orphan. I say was because I've now found my father and discovered that my friends are also my sisters, which is awesome. And our pronouns are she, her.
Awesome. And Blake.
Hi, I'm Blake. I'll be playing the part of Crowley. He is a Penoch, a feline-like race of my own creation. The home world is called Saphir. He's gone for some grand adventures with the crew and otherwise. Enjoying himself thus far, and we'll see what the future holds. Our pronouns are he, him.
Awesome. And Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris. I play Arian. He is the slightly older, slightly grizzled original Marine of the group. Although these people have been Navy and Marines, back to Navy. Anyway, he is adapting to being a Duke and moving in high political circles, and now a Major instead of the Sergeant he still thinks of himself as, and in command of the Marines in the system for the moment. And he sees it as his job to keep this group alive. So our pronouns are he, him.
Awesome. And Siobhan.
Oh, I'm Siobhan the writer. I will be playing Captain, don't call me Lilas, Madrimlian, an altruistic elf joined the Navy out of family obligations and has been bouncing around between Navy, Marines, and now is Black Ops. He is the head of the Black Ops unit, which consists of a few people currently. My pronouns are she, her, his or he, they.
Awesome. And last but not least, my co-GM for the night, Aaron.
Hi, my name's Aaron. I know online as Aaron Ree, which is spelled exactly as it sounds, R-I-G-H. And I play the part of Ruabel Sunfall, who is a bit of a Pratt nobleman who is coming into his own. And, I'm also the sub-GM for this game. Right? I help her with logistics and systems. Right? Our pronouns are he, they.
Awesome. And thank you very much for completing the reading challenge, guys. That was the reading challenge for part 3 of A Few Good Elves, which is a novel that takes place in this universe in about 300 years or so from the date of this game. I've been reading that on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UTC and in the UK, and 6 o'clock in the morning on Sundays for those of you in Australian Eastern Time. And yeah, we're ready to read the next part now because people have been contributing to... People have been doing this fast enough that I've been able to do a reading a week, and that's pretty cool. So thanks everyone for that. We'll start the challenge for part 4 as soon as we get part 3 started, which will be... And already I'm getting problems with my net today. I don't know why. Sorry, guys. Here, let's see if I can fix that by shutting that down. All right. And I rebooted before I started, too. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. Super Bowl fans cursing us. And we're back. Nimblin, I told you not to let Quill play with that live wire. Yeah, pretty much. Sorry, guys. Okay. There's a lot going on. Let's start with our intelligence, or our Black Ops officer's report. If you're talking, you're muted there, Siobhan.
Sorry. Last we left, the Crowley and Madrimlian had taken off to find some information on Phoenix Rock. We had the Nimlin and Magpie had done some reconnaissance and diplomacy. Sparkles and Evolith had gone and done some information gathering. And if you'd seen episode 69.5, you'd have seen, or 70.5, you would have seen that they actually reported back in. As for the other players, Rubel is playing Liaison, and VonVin is taking care of her prince. Yasma is, I don't remember what Yasma was doing, but Celine and Arian were bogged down in paperwork.
Okay. This is Madrimlian's perspective. Got it. All right.
Like I said, Madrimlian doesn't know anything what's going on.
You know, for the guy who's supposed to be the one finding out information.
Hard to get information when I'm not around to get it.
All right, I guess I'd better summarize this time, actually, some of the things that are going on. All right, so some of our chat crew were recruited into the Black Ops unit and have been trying to negotiate with goblins on Phoenix Rock, who looked like they were basically going to uphold a blockade. However, they have since negotiated so that Phoenix Rock is basically Casablanca. Both parties can go there. They can't come within each other's ships or other military equipment, as it were. Like a blind man wandering in a brightly lit room. Chris, that's hilarious. Yep. So Dazzlecat did Dazzlecat did most of the negotiating there with Nimlin and Aaron, our new character in the chat crew, kind of playing diplomat while that was going on. It is true that it was Nimlin who provided the very important intelligence that is now going to decide what Arian and Celine do. Right? That was a couple sessions ago now, because Nimlin is the one who thought to take the time to count as many of the ships as possible. I'm sure one of the NPCs would have done it, but yeah. Yes. We're still trying to oversee the successful transfer of power to Prince Xerxes, who is yet to be coronated. VonVin has been asked to marry Xerxes and be the queen. She is basically seeing to him while all this goes on, but he's kind of been overwhelmed with grieving his father and maybe a little frightened by the whole thing, so he's needed her help. Ruavel has been left to try to coordinate all of this shit. Somehow, Arian and Celine, who were relatively minor officers in the Marines, they were captains and whatnot, have now found themselves in charge of what's left of the fleet in Talasia because the Mithril was devastated, and they are currently trying to coordinate intelligence and information. Yasma is keeping an eye on things around Prince Xerxes and seeing to his safety, and Crowley is off doing his own reconnaissance on Phoenix Rock. So the party is split. One should be concerned.
I think I'm hanging out with the nobles as well.
Yeah, that's right. You were making kind of
probably looking for an excuse to leave the party so I can go work on crafting things so I can help the group people with getting them better equipment.
And I'm sure if you left right now, VonVin would kill you. Maybe literally.
I remind you, death is not a punishment, but a lifetime of feeding carnivorous roses with your bodily fluids is.
Don't fuck with druids, man.
Nope. Do not. Do not. They have no patience for the likes of you. All right. So I said I was going to start off with Arian and Celine this time, so that is where we are going to go. Okay, so Arian and Celine are basically, they set up a command post. They take over the main wardroom in the equivalent of Whitehall. I'll come up with some name for it, right? Let's see. If anybody can think of a good one, let me know. But they are, people cooperate, right? At least initially. Their faces are long, eyes are a little scared. They're looking for someone to take charge. If you're willing to take charge, they are willing to have someone to follow.
Starpoint with an E.
What was that, sorry?
Starpoint, but with an E at the end.
Yep.
Instead of Whitehall.
Oh. Nice. Okay, I didn't quite hear, so we can...
Starpoint?
Starpoint. I like it.
But with an E at the end.
Yes, so it sounds hoity-toity?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like it. Starpoint Hall. It is now officially Starpoint Hall. I like it. Okay. So they are at Starpoint Hall.
Part of the intelligence we got back from Evelith and Barbarossa was that there's a lot of unrest amongst the troops because there was a lack of leadership they were seeing. So
yep, that's right.
Arian had the regimental sergeant major call all the off-duty people back to base for a muster and a briefing, and I told the sergeant major to take care of it so that the troops would know that they were getting, the straight skinny instead of a bunch of smoke blowed up their butts by the mithril.
Right.
So that should help with that. And yeah, we were pulling together the numbers to see how many ships and how many troops we had left.
Okay. So then, I am pulling up the Commodore's emergency war order document because this had the information about exactly how many the enemy had. Okay. So, there are no dreadnoughts left in the system. There are several merchantmen that are part of the merchant marine that could be, their gun decks could be loaded and they could be sent to war. There are, there's a few derelict sloops that could be reconfigured, and one that has been commandeered as the personal pleasure craft of, commandeered, but it's slightly archaic. It was the personal pleasure craft of a noble whose father retired from the Navy and then, was allowed to keep his prize ship, went to his daughter. His daughter's been using it as a pleasure yacht. She's going to be upset, but it's going to be taken away whether she wants it or not. Yes. So, I don't know, do you want exact numbers or do you want me to kind of this is the kind of thing that you're hearing?
Okay, so it sounds like we're still way short on hulls.
We are way short on hulls.
Okay. How are we doing on troops?
Troops, on the other hand, after a couple of days, are much better. Recalling the reserves made almost nobody, as far as you know, nobody turned it down. There is a long line of people reporting in for assignment. Many of them are too old, but they're here. And there's a lot of fresh faces that are also showing up, going, yeah, I heard about the invasion and the fall of Evergleam. Put me where you will. They're quite eager to go. So they're a ragtag bunch, but there are a lot of them.
So we take the old guys who are too old to fight, and we put them in charge of, a quickie boot camp. Yeah, a quickie boot camp for the new guys.
Yep.
That frees up what troops we have for operations.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we have access to like a observatory or something where we can watch what's going on in orbit?
Yes, as a matter of fact, here on Glimmerfell is one of the best observatories in known space. It is at the top of the Lunar Tower. And yes, you definitely can.
Okay. So can we get some sense of how the enemy fleet is laid out over the planet?
They have spread themselves out in what is a fairly typical blockade format. They're largely, there's a cluster near the equator, but they're also running orbiting patrols.
Okay. Is there anywhere that's obviously weaker than any of the others, like where they have a hole in their coverage or anything like that?
They do actually, yeah. This would be profession marine, profession sailor, or whatever, I imagine, because I don't think any of us have tactics as a knowledge, right?
No, no such thing.
Well, I rolled a 19 on my profession sailor.
Brilliant.
I have like 14 ranks in it, or plus 14, so 33.
Well, that'll do it, eh? Okay, yes. They don't seem to be paying as much attention to the largest ocean as they should be. They clearly don't expect people to be launching ships from the middle of the ocean or the middle of a great big desert. Because they're just not paying as close attention to it as they ought to be.
Okay, and the other question is... Go ahead.
There's also a spot near the tiers of whatever.
But that's on the back side of the moon, right? We can't see it from here?
Yeah. Well, you can tell that it's a Yeah. High visibility area that they are avoiding.
Okay. And then the other question is, Samaris had authorized us to buy in as many bug suits as we could find. How are we doing on that?
Well,
Yeah, I better put that in Aaron's court, actually, because he understands better
Yeah.
how that's done.
The bug suits are, you've got probably 100 of them here on the planet,
Okay.
and they are trying to get word out to Peridot and Ruby,
Mm-hmm.
right, to get more of them.
But we have
under
100.
construction.
But we have 100.
Probably about 100, yeah.
So that's enough to put together a good-sized strike force.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Celine, I go, well, Commodore, we need ships. I see a lot of ships.
I like what you're thinking.
We have a bunch of bug suits, and we have a hole in their coverage. I'm thinking it's time to assign some of our elite troops that are left to cutting out operations to go steal the ships we need from the damn Fomorians.
I think this sounds like a great plan. I wish we could leave this wardroom and go do that, she says. We have the training. And the experience, she says.
Well, I could lead it if you need, ma'am.
I think maybe that would be a great idea. Why don't you take charge of that? I'll hold the fort here, she says.
How many do we have that are fitted already to the Marines that have either, flight or piloting skills? The bug suits.
Probably a dozen.
And how long will it take us to finish fitting out the other ones?
Couple of weeks.
Oh, jeez. All right, what's patrolling the edges of the ocean ship-wise? Like where the hole is? Is it corvettes or gunboats or frigates or?
Yeah, it's mostly corvettes and gunboats. Yep. A lot less corvettes than gunboats. They really don't expect it to be a place where people are likely to launch from. They seem to think that they'll be able to see just about anything you guys do.
Yeah, well, they're holding the orbitals. The bug suit is a little more easy.
Yep.
All right, how many of our bug suit Marines are mages?
That's a good question. Mages are fairly common, and mages are the ones most likely to have piloting skills.
Right. Most of them are at least maguses.
Okay. Do we have enough improved
invisibility to get them there?
Yeah.
She
Greater
says,
invisibility.
yes, go and grab Seldan, she says.
Don't forget Mariama.
And Mariama, they're both archmages. They should be able to cover it, she says.
You mean Selgorn?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I meant Selgorn. You have too many cell name people.
Yeah.
I have too many A-named people. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, Selgorn. Yeah, go grab Selgorn, right, and Mariama. And they ought to be able to cover it, she says.
Yeah, so I will take the best of the troops we have, well, the ones we have fitted out to, and improved invisibility, and I will lead boarding actions to cut out. We'll go after the corvettes. The gunboats aren't going to be as useful. We need some platforms that have at least some survivability. And we'll do that until they start figuring out that it's going on and reinforce with something bigger, and then we'll reconsider.
And Mariama does have a bug suit as well.
What's that? Mariama?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep, that's
She doesn't
true.
wear it.
And it depending, are you recruiting any of the PCs for this?
Well, who can we spare?
That's the question.
I assume the Royal Guard's taking over duty, so we can probably spare Yasma for it. We can probably spare Arden, because Grandma can take over the unruffling of the noble feathers.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have Ruvel?
I've got the Sergeant Major. You go ahead. Yeah. The Regimental Sergeant Major, so I'm good. Yeah, get Ruvel. Sure.
I think that's probably about it. VonVin needs to stay near Xerxes. Oh, by the way, have you taken care of that thing we discussed?
He laughs.
No, I'm talking to Celine about the potions
Oh.
of fertility.
I haven't had the chance yet. She says, I'm working on it.
Well,
I have made them, she says. There's 3 of them.
all right. Well, we'll get the head chambermaid or whatever at the palace to slip them into her drinks and stuff. We'll go from there.
Okay, she says.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. I think if I take Yasma, I take Arden, I take Ruvel and me, and the other 12 Marines and Mariama. That gives us what is that? 13 plus 5 of us. Gives us 18 people. We should be able to take a Corvette in a hot minute.
Yep, shouldn't take too long at all with that that bunch. I'm pretty impressed, actually. That's a good idea. I see a bunch of ships out there. We need them. Let's go take them. Ingenuity. Yeah.
Oh, we reduce their strength and increase ours. 2 for 1.
Yep, absolutely what an elite special forces unit ought to be doing. Yep, good work. Okay, so important stuff from the chat crew, I think. And in the future, guys, reminder that this is supposed to be with #me if you want me to pay attention to it, right? Stretch the emergency war measures here. The Commodore's order demands that shipyards and foundries and brassworks produce stuff specifically for the Navy, whether or not they are civilian, right? And yeah, that's more true than you might imagine there, but okay. Yeah, we have more suits than bodies trained to use them, yes. Daz doesn't need to worry about her suit because nobody else can fit their ass in it. Remember, they have to be specifically designed, right? And there are early factories at this time, but they're not really a thing yet. Most things are still, it's just starting, right? So, but yes, there are foundries and brassworks and shipyards, and they're all run in a very factory-like method, and yeah, they've already been ordered to produce shit for us. So, Celine is really a pirate at heart. Well, she's practical. Let's just say that. Okay.
There's a reason why some pirates are called privateers, because they were hired by a foreign country to do pirating against another country.
Yep. She probably would do as well as a privateer. All right, so you guys set out with this.
Okay. First, you find Ruavel.
Yeah.
Right. And he's talking with somebody.
Ah, okay.
Right. The guy says, "I'm sorry, my lord," and hands him a package, silk wrapped object. He just nods and Says, carry on, Sergeant. Right. Then notices you.
Thing okay, Ruvel?
My father is dead, he says.
Yes, I'd heard. I'm sorry for your loss. I know you weren't close to him, but it's still a blow.
Yeah. Feels strange. This is his rune blade.
I've heard of those amazing weapons. Well, I'm about to give you the chance to wet it in your enemy's bloods.
He smiles.
Selena's ordered us to go conduct cutting out operations against the Fomorian fleet, or to seize corvettes and return them to the planet for use by the Avalodian Navy.
Sounds good, he says.
Very well, let's go. We've got to collect
Yes,
Yasmin
sir.
and Arden as well.
Okay.
And I don't think you have to serve me anymore. I do believe you're now a Navy captain, are you not?
No, I'm a Marine captain. He says, I'm just underneath you.
Oh,
It's cool, though.
well, then you do
I
have
wanted
to serve
tell
me.
you. Yeah. I wanted to tell you, Arian, that your guidance really has helped me.
That's the job of a sergeant.
Yeah, I know. He says, you've earned my admiration, my friend.
I thank you for that, Royal. And I will say you are forming up to be an officer that I think I would be proud to follow if I was still a sergeant.
He nods and says, well, I appreciate that.
Don't forget your lessons, or else I'll have to come smack them back into you.
Yeah. He says, okay.
That foreshadowing.
Very well, shall we go collect the others? The
Yeah,
strike force is assembly.
He puts the rune blade in his backpack.
Yeah, don't forget the thing about rune blades. It's something that all the characters have probably know, maybe even Crowley, even though it's not his culture, but he certainly had enough contact with them by now. If you draw a rune blade and it does not think you are worthy, it will kill you.
So it's like the moon swords in the Forgotten Realms.
Somewhat. Heavy influence. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And usually belongs to a noble family.
Yep.
Well, we will go and collect Arden and Yasma and Mariama and take ourselves off to the assembly point.
Yeah, Selgorn is directed to report to their assembly point and assist them in making themselves invisible to attempt cutting out actions.
Indubitably, he says. Heads over there. That's Solorn as he comes out.
Yeah, describe him again. Remember, he's a gnome.
Yeah, he's a gnome. He's got bright blue hair and bright blue eyes. Right? A perpetual grin on his face. Right? And big ears for a gnome. He's about 3 foot, of course. Right? And sort of pot-bellied. But good looking.
Yeah.
Older. Like he's physically in his late middle age.
Arian will lean over to Art. He'll go, I have a suspicion that he says it lowly, not whispering, but speaking softly so it won't carry. I have a suspicion and a curiosity. Not that I think it's an issue, but could you take a look at Sovereign through your new toy there, Arden, and tell me what you see?
Sure.
Yeah, take a look at him through your spyglass.
Mm,
Yeah, nothing changes.
nothing
You
changed.
can make a perception check.
Okay. Let me roll my perception. Perception +1, so that's a 14.
14. No, that isn't good enough.
How do you only have a
No,
plus?
Perception
to
isn't one of
perception.
my perception isn't one of my class skills.
You automatically get at least a +2 for being an elf.
Let me double check my elf stuff then. Feeds. Immune to magic sleep. Oh yeah, +2. I didn't add that to my sheet, so that's another. I rolled a 13.
16?
I have a +1, and then another +2 brings me to 16.
Okay. All right.
I'll have to fix that here.
Yeah, at 16, there's something not quite right, but it's not. You're not sure what it is. It doesn't show up on True Sight, but something just seems off about him.
Mm-hmm. I'll mention it, but
Well, thanks for trying. But it's just curious. The Crown Prince obviously trusts him, so do I.
Yeah, he approaches up there. Sir, he says. I'm only a lieutenant. He says so.
Yes, Lieutenant.
He says, I have some rings for you.
Very well.
He holds out a bag of rings.
Okay. Take them out.
They're all plain gold bands with inscriptions on the inside of them. They say one ring to rule them all.
That's why I was chuckling.
No, but he says the rings of invisibility.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. He says.
Hand them out to the assault crew.
rings of
Yep.
invisibility, I believe, are not greater.
Or not what?
I don't think they can. They have greater invisibility unless they could.
No. You will appear when you attack, but you can always go invisible again.
Hmm.
Very cool.
And the invisibility is not to get you so that you can fight invisible. It's to get you to the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I just don't want them to see us coming up out of the ocean and close the hole.
Right.
Let them wonder why their ships start diving for the planet.
Yeah.
Great a medium ring still, though. Ooh.
Right.
We could solve that problem. We can just put a great big sign visible from space that says
No
free
elves here.
barbecued rigs and beer.
That would be funny if they actually fall for it.
Oh, it's worth a try. Let's put some people on that. Pick an island somewhere out of the way.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Anyway.
Uh,
Right,
Xerxes. Yeah, go ahead.
so we get the rates, and we can do something else for a minute if you want. Go ahead.
Okay, you'd like me to switch over to something else for the moment? Is that what you
Oh,
said?
Aaron was saying something, so I'm just gonna let him go ahead.
Xerxes takes Yasma, or not Yasma, fucking VonVin, sorry, out to the garden.
Okay. Sure, she'll go with him out to the garden.
He says, I've been trying to figure out the best time and way and place and shit to do this, he says. But the fact of the matter is that I'm just not any good at it. I just want you to know that I love you. You're my everything. He says, would you marry me?
I love you too, and of course I'll marry you, she says. But
This
I don't
heart
think
charm
there's
belongs to
any.
my mother.
Pardon?
She says, this heart charm belonged to my mother.
Okay.
It was gifted to me for when this happened. So I'd like you to have it.
Okay. And she'll take it and put it on if he doesn't put it on her.
He puts it on her.
Okay. He gives him a big kiss.
He says, it's never going to be a right time. He says, but I want you to be my queen.
Of course I will. It'll take us some time to get how everything's going to work sorted out, she says, but we'll manage it.
We'll figure it out. Okay.
And if anybody thinks druids are not dangerous far away from
And Sable, did you see the old
Now
school
we're
check?
back.
What was that? Sorry? I'm back. We're back. So Yeah, okay, so I can't run Sirenscape tonight. I have too much going on in this layout. Like I said, this overlay was kind of hurriedly cobbled together at the last minute to go with our new opening sequence. So I will have to wait until next time. We're going to have to go with the ship ambience tonight, and that's it. Sorry, gang. I'll have it much improved for next time. I already know what I'm doing, so... Alright. Sorry, so the last thing I believe we heard was... yeah.
I wanted to know if I could get myself a wand of shocking grasp for the raiding group. Well, part of the raiding group.
Yes.
Cool.
Currently you're in a position where you can pretty much requisition anything you fucking want.
Yeah, you requisition one.
Right. Then that means I just don't need any spell slots for shocking grasp.
So
Right.
everyone took
They
that
give
as
you
a...
one that's got 35 charges left in it.
35. Okay.
I don't know if there's anything you wanted to complete there, guys. I believe the last thing we heard was, of course I love you, and and you started to say something, and then you said pardon, and Aaron said something. I'm hearing big sighs. Why am I hearing big sighs?
It's just me breathing.
Okay. All right.
I'm a little bit phlegmy. It was cold beverage. VonVin says, anybody who has designs on assassinating is in from some serious trouble if they think a druid that's away from a garden is not dangerous.
He says, I know you're dangerous, love. That's what I love about you.
Yeah, well.
That you're just so damn cute, he says.
Death is not a punishment, my love.
Okay.
That means I won't kill them. They just will wish they were dead.
Yeah. That scares me more than...
Hey, man. Here, please.
Sorry.
Yes. Well. Let's hope that they don't.
I'm sort of hoping they don't either.
He nods. Okay. We'll get married. The moon's full, I guess.
I do believe that is the tradition.
You want to know what the moon cycle is right now? I might be able to tell you. Just a second here.
I was just about to ask that question.
I would laugh if it's a full moon.
Does anyone remember what the date is?
No.
No, it hasn't been being updated on the game page, so I have zero idea.
I think that I actually did, I have been saying the dates. And I'm gonna have to go back through the episodes and do up the timeline for this war anyway, but... Oh, wait a minute. No, hold on. I figured out what the date was for the War Measures Act. I did. Because I had to. So that was, 13 Hunter's Moon, 4611. Right? So, how many days do we estimate this has been? I have lost track. I think it's been about 3, right?
Yeah, I think 3.
3 or 4. Okay, so...
If it's been 4 days, your widening clasp is done, Mom.
Noted.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Interesting. You know what? 3 days,
that right?
right?
Hmm?
That's funny.
It's a full moon, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's actually the full moon here too.
It's the full moon.
Yep. Yep. On the 17th.
Well, here it's the... Actually, actually, hold on. No, wait, 3 days, right? And it was the 13th, so it's the 16th, right? Or the 17th.
Hmm?
The full
16th
moon
or
has
17th.
just passed.
That's
By,
even
like,
funnier.
1 day.
That's even funnier.
That is
Gives you
even
lots of-
funnier.
Gives them more time to prepare for it though. So
Yeah, but they didn't want any more time to prepare.
They could always do it on the new
just
moon.
because I was gonna say, just because the full moon's a tradition, probably doesn't mean we have to do it that way. There are some
Well-
exceptional circumstances going on here.
It's space. There's a full moon somewhere.
That's right. And we are
Do
spacefarers.
this thing.
Okay.
Yes. They go find Celine.
Yeah, Celine is like surrounded by, people coming and going and asking her things and showing her stuff, and she's giving other direction. Oh, and she sees you, and then she says, Your Highness, and she bows, and everybody else does too.
Commodore. Is this? I've come to speak to you in your capacity as a priestess.
She says, Well, of course I'm at your disposal, Your Highness. Would you care to step into my office? She says.
No, I'll say it in front of everyone. We want to get married.
That's
I
excellent.
mean, all my loyal courtiers are here. He says.
As in right now, she says.
Yes, this evening.
That's still within the 3 days of the full moon, she says. It would be appropriate.
And, there's always a full moon somewhere.
I would be honored to perform the ceremony.
That's what we were hoping.
What time shall I attend? She says.
So he says, what time is moonrise tonight?
That's a damn good question. I don't know what time moonrise is. What time is moonrise in
What-
the mid-fall, or the August type?
August?
September.
August?
Yeah.
Whereabouts are we equator-wise in relationship to it?
Temperate.
Yeah.
You
Like
can see
Vancouver
the
Island,
moon.
Cleveland.
You can see the moon as early as probably about 3-4 o'clock.
The full moon? I don't think so. Not in temperate areas.
No,
Not in the
probably
summer.
about 7.
Yeah,
summer.
maybe. Okay, you know what? We can look this up.
I was gonna say, I'm just gonna put in moonrise, Vancouver,
Yep, that makes sense.
August 17, just because.
Yeah, why not?
2022. 5:57.
Okay, so... All right. She says
It says 6 of the clock, 1800 hours.
1,800 hours, she says.
That's moonrise approximately, I think. He looks at VonVin for confirmation.
Rowan just gapped for half a second, I'm sorry.
He just said that's moonrise, I think. And he looked at you for confirmation.
Yep, she says.
See, some of this is rubbing off on me.
Close enough, at least for Druid's work.
Or moon priestesses, she says.
Yeah.
Exchanges a smile with VonVin.
I'm thinking the garden.
In the garden?
Yes. As much as I would like to say temple, let's keep the travel to a minimum until we have everything sorted and the crown firmly on your head, my love.
I think the garden would be lovely, Your Highness.
He says, if I can, I'd like the Voidchasers there. I know that some of them are off on mission, so hopefully they'll be back for their first ship by then.
I can recall them if need be, Your Highness, she says.
Yeah, let's go give Marion's grandmother a heart attack.
Yeah. I'm sorry, he says. I'm a little off.
It's all right. You just lost your dad.
We're
Of course
all
you're gonna be
feeling
off.
the strain, Your Highness, says Celine. It is perfectly understandable. You perhaps more than most, she says. She says, if I might make some recommendations, she says.
Absolutely, he says.
She says, I would recommend that you command me to see if the Voidchasers can be spared, she says, but not to pull them off of anything that is essential. She says,
That's sort of what I wanted.
I also recommend that you command me to at least hold off until the current assignment that Major Mythithus is leading is done, she says. So it may be a little later, perhaps 7 or 8, she says.
Okay.
She says,
Like I said,
Make
there's
that
a full
happen.
moon somewhere.
Avalan, she says, and salutes.
He smiles.
All right, let's
He
go give
says-
some nobles some heart attacks, babe.
Yeah. Says, I really admire you, Celine.
Thank you, Your Highness, she says. I admire you too, she says. Both of you.
We'll just have to have a super big party later. It's probably not safe to have more than a modest celebration. And not necessarily appropriate.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, says VonVin, would it be entirely considered bad sacrilege, she says, looking at her sister, if we had the deceased king attend?
I can't see why. I can certainly see if that's a possibility, she says. We do have the entire Church of Arianrod at your disposal, she says. We are the guardians of the passage to the afterlife. If his spirit
just
can
saying,
be
you
called
know.
back, we could do that, she says.
I wasn't even suggesting that, just his body and state can come out to the garden.
She says, it would be unusual, but I can't see it being inappropriate, she says.
Since he didn't get to be here for it,
She nods.
and he's still not burnt, I couldn't think of why not. It's the thought and the symbolism that really counts. Dead people don't really care that much.
You're not wrong, she says. Not from everything I've read, anyway.
They're not
She
there
says,
anymore.
Is that what you would like, Your Highness?
Yes.
Very good, sir, she says. I will see to it.
Thank you.
Do you have any other directives for me at this time?
Just carry on. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, Your Highness, she says. Yeah, she salutes again and then, goes back to work with, okay, let's see those reports. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. They get out of her hair. Go tell Arian's grandma what they're up to.
Yep.
Palace cook.
Good idea, she says. The sooner the better, she says. And that'll put paid to all this nonsense.
He nods.
Some nonsense I should know or be concerned about, says VonVin.
She says, rumblings mostly. I don't think anybody's that organized, to be honest with you.
Oh.
She says, well, there's okay. She says, granted, I have no evidence of any of this, sire, she says.
Of course.
There was a rumor that there were some young hotheads who figured they could stir up trouble among the common folk, as it were, with some well-timed propaganda, she says.
What in particular?
She says, the excesses of your court and the indiscretions of your youth in particular, sire. Also, she says, some rumblings I've heard about incompetence in the leadership, she says. I would expect that, given the situation.
He does. Is this illegitimate child thing again?
Yes, Your Highness, she says. Is there any truth to this rumor?
No, my father insisted on infertility as soon as I became sexually active at 40.
A wise elf, she says.
Yeah, he said we're not going to have any issue of bastards. He said, right? I'd have to have it reversed now. He says, I plan on it. He says, but I can't have children.
Good, she says. I'm relieved to hear that. It's a persistent rumor, she says.
I know. He says, I know. He says, because I was indiscriminate. He says, I love people. He says.
She says, I'm not sure that's such a bad thing in an elven youth.
He nods. You're a wise woman.
She says, I have been a very unwise woman, Your Highness, so maybe my experiences are teaching me some things in my old age.
He nods. Says, well, can we make this happen?
Absolutely.
By 8 o'clock tonight?
Without a doubt, she says. I am certain that... She says, don't pay any attention if you hear rumblings. She says, the ones who are rumbling are doing it just to create trouble. This is not unprecedented. Our history is long, and securing the crown is important in times of difficulty. You won't be the first to pull this off. she says, and if anybody objects to it, it's because they're more interested in undermining you and raising themselves than they are in seeing the good of the crown. So I would let it slide off. She says, personally, I think that the faster this happens, the more secure everyone will feel.
Okay.
VonVin says, right, so I should not choke them to death with an entangle. Okay.
I understand the temptation, she says with a smile and a gleam in her eye, and you suddenly get the sense like she doesn't necessarily disapprove. Yes, it's true. Poor Aiden is overwhelmed in paperwork right now. Aiden has never seen so much paperwork in their life.
She says, they're just lucky I have not had time yet to visit Adonia for some carnivorous roses.
I think they would be a lovely addition to the garden, she says.
Oh, they will be.
I look forward to them, my lady, she says.
He says, thank you, my lady. He says, I appreciate your support.
Of course. She says, of course, Your Highness.
And I better send word to my uncle, and, is it conceivable to ask you to handle dealing with the invitations?
Of course, I would be delighted to do that, she says.
Thank you. I trust your judgment on who's appropriate.
Do you have anyone in particular you would like to make sure that I invite that perhaps would not typically be on my guest list, she says.
My uncle.
Understood, she says. I will invite him.
The Crown Prince.
That's a good idea, Your Highness.
I think he's sort of got to be there.
Nods. Well, we should inform him, don't you think?
Yeah, we better.
There's clearly a subtext I am missing, she says, raising an eyebrow.
I guess we better tell you because it's going to be important, says VonVin. The Crown Prince is my father.
Oh, she says. Oh, well, much is explained, she says. Yeah. Wonderful, she says. That's excellent. I can't imagine anyone could object. Third daughter. This tells me there are daughters that we don't know about yet, she says.
Yes.
Never mind. You didn't tell me for a reason, she says.
Well, I'm telling you now because I'm confiding in you as my closest confidant. He says, the Voidchasers have all three daughters of Salnaris in it.
Why would you put them all together, she says.
How else do sisters get to know each other? Who never grew up and didn't meet till recently. How else do you prevent dissension? Should there come a time when one of them has to take your place? Better that they are friends.
I suppose that's true, she
who've
says.
Saved each other's lives on more than one occasion and shed blood together.
Actually, I think I've changed my mind. I think I like the idea of Imperial princesses having marine training, she says.
Don't you?
Indeed, she says. Wish I did, she says.
It's never too late to learn a few new tricks.
Oh, I'm too old for the hardy life of a marine now, she says. I might make a good clerk, she says. Okay, I will put the invitation together. I assume you're revealing your identity, at least. Or are you? Your Highness, she says to VonVin.
I think we're going to have to.
I think that it would be wise not to at this juncture, because it will stop the various attempts between now and moonrise of anybody trying to slip their fingers in. Right. Do we have a mage on hand with copy?
Dozens, she says.
Excellent. I will need at least one, because you will probably need at least one copy of this. And she takes out her birth certificate. In the event of people say, how the hell, etc.
No, actually, I don't think I do, Your Highness. Your father is going to be a guest at the wedding. I'm sure he will take issue if anyone objects. And I think that will have far more effect than I would. Everyone knows he's an archmage, she says.
It's true, sis.
And one with a somewhat severe reputation, she says.
Mm-hmm.
I think it will be fine, she says. I don't know how you're going to pull this off without revealing the identity of your sisters, but I will do my best to keep your secret, she says.
They're my crewmates.
Understood.
And my best friends.
Of course, she says. Of course. I think we'll be all right, she says. I think we will. All right, I'll put it together. You should be going on and getting your own preparations done, I think, shouldn't you, Your Highnesses?
Yes.
I have a few things to do, one of which is I'm going to go and talk to the cook.
Very good idea, she says.
I would not force anybody else to have to notify any chef that is worth their salt that they have to prepare a dinner for a wedding that's happening this evening that's likely to have 100+ guests. That's just a guesstimate, she says. Am I about right?
Yes.
I'm sure it would be more if it were not sudden, she says.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there are a great many nobles that are not going to be able to make it here. Probably not people we wanted there anyway.
All the nobles of the lords of the court are in the court at the moment.
There we go. All right. Well, let's go and let the cook yell at us, dear.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I seem to recall that they like you.
Yeah, the cooks like me here. Her name is Marissa. She's probably the closest thing I got to a mom.
All right, then time's wasting. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we're at 7:30. That's the halfway mark.
The bio.
I need a bio, and I need coffee. So I say let's take our break. When we return, we'll catch up with Crowley, right? And then we'll see what happens next. Probably the cutting out action, I imagine. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was just looking at the time, that's all.
Yep.
Because by the time break's done, we'll have maybe an hour worth of game time left.
Yes, it's all going very quickly tonight because there's a lot going on. So, it'll have to wait till next week.
Yeah, the fight.
Some of it, yep. That's true. You're right. The fight probably will have to wait till next week. I should touch base again with Madrimlian and the chat crew, but I don't know. See, because Yasma hasn't had a chance to do much, and she's been detailed to this cutting out action. So I would like to give Dawn some things to do. We'll talk about it. We'll go to break, and we'll see you guys in just a moment. We're changing the format here, so there'll be a brief commercial break before we run the timer. seconds. 1 second. And we're back from the break. All right, so at this point we are heading over to Phoenix Rock. Aaron is going to be running this section, so I'm just going to turn my camera off for a bit so that I am not creating confusion. And we resume with Crowley and Madrimlian.
All right. You were let loose on Phoenix Rock. So I have Madrimlian with us? Okay.
I'm here.
I got Crowley.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. You guys were let loose on Phoenix Rock. Basically, when you got there, there was some immediate problems going on with the goblins that were on Phoenix Rock that Selnar gave Dazzlecat a chance to shine at, right? And said that to Crowley and Madrimlian, but mostly to Crowley, right? You guys might want to get in contact with your contacts here.
Right.
Duly noted.
Since I am certain that the Dragan Syndicate is here.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure of it.
Yes, I am most certain they're here. If the goblins are here, they're here.
Yep. So where are you guys heading to?
Okay, well, I'm gonna, we're down by the docks at the moment, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm gonna slip on my ring and take a look around. Take a quick peek down some of the alleys, see if there's any markers.
Yes. There is a marker in one of the alleys that basically says the name of a ship. Ship's called the Jolly Plunder.
The Jolly Plunder, eh?
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. And that marker, you know, it tells you where they're headquartered here.
Okay. So basically their headquarters is in that ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Madrimlian's following Crowley's lead.
Okay, all right, Madrimlian.
We need to get me a new name for this.
Yeah. What could
The elf equivalent of John.
No,
Yeah.
the Phoenix equivalent of John. Remember, he looks like a Phoenix?
Who?
Crowley, or Madrimlian,
Oh, okay.
with his
I
disguise.
didn't know.
I have a question, and that is, why is Madrimlian going to all this trouble?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure. I just want to know if there's a reason in particular, or if it's because remember the thing about Madrimlian is that he looks very average, right?
True.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that this is for plausible deniability, so that
How are you disguising yourself as a Phoenix?
potion of disguise
Oh,
from my
potion of
investigate
dis-
from being an
Does it
investigator.
allow you to change your size?
No, I'm just a big Phoenix.
I think that would
No.
stand out more than an
It would stand out
average-looking elf.
more.
Yeah, okay.
Just don't be in uniform. Madrimlian
Yeah.
is generally recognized in his uniform. I'm sure he's smart enough to put on civvies.
Oh, remember, he turned his uniform inside out for disguise. You had me roll my disguise skill.
Yeah, I did. That's right. I remember. Yes, you designed your uniform so that if you turned it inside out, it looked like a basic coat. You had an inner lining put in, which I think is right clever, by the way.
Anyway,
Okay, carry on.
All right. I think that we should head this way, Madrimlian. And I'll start heading towards closer to the docks and looking for ship names.
mhm.
Meanwhile, looking to see what kind of security is visible on the deck of the ship, at the gangplank, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you find the ship, it's not hard,
Yeah.
right? It's a man-of-war classed merchantman,
Okay.
right? Right. It's got heavily armed guards on it.
Okay.
Guards are carrying heavy crossbows and have battle axes on their hip,
Okay.
right? Dressed in chainmail armor.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I think our best bet on this one is, like you say, follow my lead. Say nothing, ask nothing. Unless you're asking me in our heads. And even that is risky. So I would, if not necessary, use no psionics. No mind powers unless it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I don't want to tip our hand.
And we don't want trouble where there isn't any already.
No. I want to get in better with these guys anyway. So, maybe introduce me as a new recruit. I know you've got contacts there, Crowley. I'm not stupid.
Yeah, I might know a guy who knows a guy.
You mean the last guy we dealt with back on Evergleam?
Well, think of it as a spider web.
Yeah, I understand that.
All right. So, what exactly are we looking for information? I know what I'm looking for. What do you think we need for information?
At the moment, I'm not entirely certain, and that's my problem.
Okay. Well, then
Numbers would help, but I doubt they'll give us numbers.
leave the talking to me, and we'll try and get this figured out. All right. Start heading up gangplank.
Sorry, guys. A reminder here, guys. What you guys were directed to find out was what is going on in Phoenix Rock. Are there Navy people who are here that can be redetailed to aid in the liberation of the planet from its current occupation, and whether or not the Fomorians are here, and if possible, in what numbers. That's what you were directed to find out.
Yeah.
And the guy at the top of the gangplank looks down and smiles. He says, "Crowley, how you doing?"
I'm doing pretty good. And yourselves?
We're good. We're good. Grandfather's inside. He says,
Excellent.
and Hold's set up as a casino.
Okay.
He says, go on in. Who's this?
Oh, this is Steve.
Oh, yeah. Take it that's not his real name?
Well, no, but
Yeah.
you know how it is.
Yeah, I know how it is.
People rarely tell me the real names anyway. Not until they're screaming and writhing in pain. But that's
He says, well, grandfather's looking forward to seeing you anyways. He said to show you right in when you got here.
excellent. Thank you very much.
I think I hear shades of it was a boring conversation anyway. Steve, for an elf? Okay. It's funny. Carry on. You covered it well.
Well, I was thinking of George, but that was a little much. All right. So we'll head down into the hold and head towards
when you get down there, you can hear the casino noises going on, cards being played, blackjack being played. They got a roulette wheel in there. And
the clanking of chips.
I can see Madrimlian looking like a changeling. So Steve, would it be effective?
Yeah.
That is true. Madrimlian has disguised himself as a changeling before in canon, and therefore I don't see any reason why he couldn't here. He has, his features are kind of indeterminate. It's pretty easy for him to stuff an extra shirt under his jacket and look a little bulkier than he actually is, and he could indeed pass. Yep. So hey, maybe Steve isn't untoward.
Yep. Grandfather is down there. He's at a bar that they've set up in the room, right in the corner of the bar as usual. He sees you come in and he waves. Of course, he's in his goblin form here.
Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm. Right, which it's him because it looks like him. It just blue. He says, Crowley.
Grandfather.
Yes.
How are you this
Must be a good war. It's attracting all the right people.
Always does.
Yes. How are you this fine day?
Oh, I'm doing rather well.
Don't join me for a drink.
All right. Come over and order up a bottle of sake from the bar.
Yep. And he delivers it immediately with a warmer and he says, so what can I do for you, Crowley? You need information?
Yes, I've come in search of some information.
Okay. What do your people need to know?
Well, I really need to know, is this the majority of the Fomorian fleet that has put this planet under siege?
Well, he says, I'll be honest with you. He says, the majority here in this space.
Okay. Which would be approximately how many?
Yeah, he says he gives you an approximate number of ships. About 100, he says.
Okay, about 100 ships.
100 ships? What is he talking about in particular?
The ships blockading the...
We have numbers. Planet. There are lots.
Yep.
It is a very big fleet.
Yep.
Are you counting the gunboats?
No, I'm just counting the ships.
Okay, let's see. I have figures here. Yeah, there's just a little over 100.
Mm-hmm. So it's just about 100. He says a little more. There's ships, there's gunboats and fighters and stuff too, but those really don't count much, he says. I don't mind giving you guys this information, he says.
Well, the last thing we need is for you or I to lose anyone of real importance.
To us, yes.
To us.
As you're talking, a white-skinned albino goblin comes in the room. He acknowledges him with a nod and goes back to talking to you. Go ahead, he says.
And are there any Fomorians here in any orcs here in Phoenix Rock?
He says there's a few that are running some of our ships.
Okay.
They're loyal.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yes.
And then, I'll just tell him the other information we're looking for and see what he has to say.
All right. Okay, so what information are you looking for here?
Well, we were looking for numbers. We were looking for whether or not the Fomorians were looking to, take Phoenix Rock over, or if they were just,
I have news on
As
that,
a
says the
waypoint?
albino goblin as you bring that subject up. The albino goblin says, I have news on that, grandfather. What is it, Ghost? He shows him the writ. He shows it to Crowley.
was
It's an agreement that's been come up with Selnar's seal that says basically that the goblins control half the docks and the elves control the other half, and this is basically the agreement is this is Casablanca.
Okay.
It's a neutral zone. Yes. So therefore, he says, you're not actually doing anything wrong talking to me here. He says,
Excellent. This is good to know, grandfather. Thank you.
this is Ghost. He nods.
Hello, Ghost.
Hello.
Madrimlian just nods to him. Oh, he bowed to grandfather too when he came in.
Yeah.
Like he followed Crowley's lead.
Yeah. He says, we don't mind helping you out a little bit with this. He says, it's not going to change the outcome much. He says, I hope your people are safe.
Oh, of course.
Good.
As many that can be safe are. And the ones that cannot be, well, prayers be with them.
Yep. He nods. He says, I'm here for profit first. He says, idealism second.
Well, of course. Life isn't free.
Yeah.
And neither are the things in it.
Nope, he says.
And, grandfather, on that note, if I might be so bold as to ask for maybe a heads up if you hear of any heavy troop movement, anything untoward towards any major elven settlement. so that maybe.
You guys are all on Glimmerfell, aren't you?
Yes.
He says, I will let you know that they're looking for it. He says, they have no idea where it is.
Okay. If any word comes in that they think they might have found it, the faster that word could get to me, the more appreciative I would be, Grandfather. And I'll give him.
I can do that.
And I'll reach into my coat, pull out a.
Allow me, sir. And maybe I'm going to reach in and pull out some gold.
Okay. Crowley will just look over and smile and go, "Oh, it's perfectly fine, thank you. But I got this." And Crowley will reach in and grab the bag and kind of slide it over on the counter to Grandfather. It's a bag of 1,000 gold.
Okay.
And
he picks it up briefly and puts it down.
Once again, thank you again, Grandfather.
So I'll consider this your tithe. He says, information is free for people of the Syndicate. He says, you don't have to buy the information from me.
I was not buying the information, Grandfather. You mistake me.
Oh, it is your tithe.
This is a thank you. Thank you, Grandfather.
Okay. Okay. He says, we take care of our own, probably.
Always. That has been at the core of my being since I can remember.
It's a good thing. He says, I am pleased. He says, if we find it, you will be the first to know.
Thank you, Grandfather.
He says, Ghost gave some information to your companion, Dazzlecat, about how to get past the blockade.
Excellent, thank you. Any, is there a command ship in particular?
Yes, the Admiral's ship.
The Admiral's ship. Now, how are Fomorians when their top brass is not there to command them?
And how are the Fomorians? He says, well, it all depends on them. Because goblins tend to lose rank. He says, but orcs will continue to fight.
Well, continue to fight, but I mean, are they organized? Will they be less organized without lead?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Once again, thank you, Grandfather. I've taken enough of your time.
Nah, you've not, he says, I'm just glad to have you aboard, Crowley. He says, on the other hand, he says, I would like some information from you if I could.
Yes, Grandfather.
He says, confirm for me that we killed the king.
The king is dead.
He nods. He says, his son?
His son is not dead.
Okay. He says, what's your opinion of the king's son? Will he deal fairly with us?
Yes, that we can be sure of.
Okay. He says,
He started, when I first met him, he was young and impetuous, but he has grown into his own. He will make a fine leader and a man that can be dealt with.
Good. Yes. I understand that your group has shown an incredible amount of tolerance towards Fomorians. He says that's obviously you have no prejudices against them. You're a phenom. But elves tend to. And he looks at Madrimlian and he says, and I find that elven prejudice is prevalent even among their own people.
Yes, that's something about the elves. They seem to like their hatred somehow. They seem to be a loving people, but they seem to somehow hold animosity and anger to things that differ from even themselves in their own race.
Yeah, they judge too much.
Madrimlian might think to himself at this moment, long memories, old grudges.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would seem to me that I believe, from my point of view, both sides have room for growth, but a fight, I believe, is inevitable to just allow some of the stress out of both races.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Did Madrimlian know anything about the former relations before Avalon was lost?
Fomorian relations before Avalon was lost? No.
Mm-hmm. No? Okay. I was just wondering because it was history knowledge.
You have knowledge history?
Yes?
You roll it.
I rolled a grand total of 32. 18 on the die.
Yeah. Yeah, you know that in the ancient times, these wounds are like ancient. Supposedly it goes right back to the creation of elves and orcs. That the animosity goes back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he'll say, I think it's long past time that the animosity should have been dealt with. It's far too old.
So who is this? Says grandfather to Crowley, indicating a drumline.
Oh, just a hired hand of mine.
Nods.
He's proven himself very, very useful to me, so,
Thank you, sir.
as well as trustworthy.
Somebody is
quite
attempting to probe
possibly-
your mind, Madrimlian.
Well, I'll let them in, but I will prepare to defend myself if I have to.
Hmm?
I wouldn't let
Okay.
them in.
No, there's a reason.
All right.
Of course, I'm thinking it's just Master Crowley has been the best to me. I don't know what I would do without him. These are things I'm thinking, so they can't.
Constantly has
That's
his
a
mind
particular
going.
psionic defense, isn't it? When you're like
Yes.
projecting a surface thought. What is that called?
It's called Thought Shield.
Thought shield. Okay. Do you have
I
thought
also
shield?
I have conceal thoughts.
There we go. That's the one. Now, how
Mhm.
does that work? That's an opposed roll or something, isn't it?
No.
Okay.
I get a +10 bonus on bluff checks.
Mhm.
Ah, okay.
Also gives me a +4 bonus on saving throw against any power or spell used to read my mind. I also do have thought shield.
Yeah.
Which fortify your mind against intrusions, gaining power resistance 13 against all mind affecting powers.
Yep.
Okay.
I can also just empty my mind.
Okay, I just wanted to know how it applied to the given situation here. I think that we're clear about that, so that's cool.
Yep. He turns to Crowley. He says, "Your friend is interesting."
Yeah, my thoughts exactly.
His thoughts too.
Well, I don't know what he's thinking, but I don't have those kinds of abilities.
Well, you know I do. Are you wearing a psychoactive skin, my friend?
I am.
A scion. Interesting. I wasn't sure the elves had any mental powers.
Oh, this
I'm
was a
sure
gift
the
from my
elves had
mother.
brains.
This was a gift from my mother. May she rest in peace.
He says, "Let's keep in contact, Crowley."
Most
He
definitely.
says, "I'm gonna have some people in Glimmerfell. He says that you can reach me through."
Thank you, grandfather.
He says, "There's an elf lord by the name of Astria Winterbark."
I gotta find a pencil here real quick. My pencil in my dice case is gone. Give me a sec. Sorry,
I have.
had one, but
What was the captain's last name that had the thing for orcs? Babe?
Ah, yes, that's right. Shit. Flew out my head. 1 minute. I will find it.
and then
I have to get a name here.
okay.
Yeah, sorry for the delay. I was
That's
not
okay.
expecting to have that piece of information handy, but that's alright. We will find it. Oh, you stupid fucking thing. Okay. Come on. There we go. God damn it.
Wintervale or something.
Yes, that was it. Wintervale. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. The person's name is Ezra Wintervale. They're an Alfar, he says. Female.
Ezra Wintervale?
Actually, I think they
Ezra
were
is-
she, but
Oh, are they? Okay. This is a she. Female, I believe. Yeah, Ezra Wintervale. So you can hardly tell with elves, you know.
Well, grandfather, if I might ask,
Mhm.
she is trustworthy contact of yours?
Yes. Yes. A propagandist.
Okay.
One of Ghost's people, actually. Ghost nods.
Well,
Makes
grandfather,
sense.
as something that I've always believed, you know, the threads of fate weave through us all. We need to stay connected and informed.
He nods. He says, I'm glad your people have more tolerance. This is why I reached out to you. Because your people, your friends, showed tolerance to goblins. Mostly your crew. They treated them well. They treated them with respect, he says. And that's more than we get in the Fomorian Empire, he says.
Well, grandfather, I believe that all races deserve respect. It's through anger, resentment, and ignorance that people and different races get treated as lesser. Only because amongst the galaxy, a lot of races seem to prize power above everything else, power and strength.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you and I well know, being of smaller stature, information and cunning are far more valuable.
Yeah. Yep. He nods. He says, well, he says, let's hope you all survive this war.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I will. I can't speak for anybody else.
He nods. He says,
just to note that it is 8:30, so let's wrap this up
Yeah,
pretty quick. It
just
sounds like it's
wrapping
concluding.
this up right here.
Okay.
He turns to Madrimlian. He says, if you're interested in expanding your psionic potential, he says, come see me. I'll teach you.
Like that. And he'll actually hand over a bag of about 2,000 gold.
Thank you, he says. He
Grandfather.
lifts it up and seems to weigh it in his hand. He says, I think that concludes our business, doesn't it there, Crowley?
I believe so, grandfather. Once again, thank you. And may the odds
says-
be forever in your favor.
Thank you. And I prefer that.
Me as well.
Just take care of yourself, Crowley.
I will, grandfather. You as well. I bid you adieu, And Crowley will finish his drink, get up, nod to Madrimlian, and say, "We're off."
Yes, sir.
Ghost nods. Be well.
As we're heading out, Madrimlian stops and turns back and says, I'm sorry, Grandfather. How will I be able to find you again?
Crowley will teach you how to find us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good day, Grandfather.
He nods.
Yep. And then leave with Crowley.
Yeah.
Good
Roll a
job,
will
actually,
save.
by the way. Guys, well done.
Thank you, thank you.
You roll the will save there.
Me?
Madrimlian. Yes.
$33.
Okay.
Nice. All right. So you guys assemble for your cutting out action.
Yep.
Yeah, Yasma shows up, Ruvel shows up. I don't know who else was there among the PCs who was detailed to that.
I am.
Arden.
Okay.
Need to head out.
All right, so you guys head out to one of the areas that's a hole. I assume you probably choose the ocean as opposed to the desert simply because it's closer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and invisibly you head into the sky. Now you're right up in the middle of it if you want to take a good look around.
Of course.
Yeah, you see that they do have a planetary net patrol going. It's not bad, right? Like, you would expect they would be inexperienced with this, but somebody who knows something is obviously giving them some pointers because they seem to have it pretty well in hand, except for this area. Sooner or later, I don't know, there's a gunboat going by. You said you're more interested in the Corvette, so I assume you wait for a Corvette?
Yep.
Okay. Within a couple of hours, one comes by.
Okay. Standard boarding action. We'll leave the main deck to the Marines who are with us, and Yasma and Arden and I will assault the, command deck, starting castle, poop deck, whatever you want to call it. And Mariama will stand by to swoop in and take the helm as soon as it's available.
Copy, she says. And Ruvel, will he be joining you as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so it's a low difficulty, but make a stealth check.
What stealth? Invisibility at like what, plus 20?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So roll the stealth check with the invisibility bonus applied.
sec here.
I've got 14.
Okay.
With a plus 20?
Pardon?
With 34.
So 34 then.
Yep.
Plus 16 is 19. Plus 20 is 39.
Right.
40 and 47.
Okay.
26 for Arian.
Yeah, not the best, eh?
I rolled a 2.
Yeah.
I also have like my headband of intelligence adding to my stealth, so
Okay, I recognize this is off topic, but I just have to for the sake of the future, for audio, if nothing else. Dragon Magpie says in the chat, Elves of the Toy Soldier Saga. Prissy elves, theater kid elves, more violent hippie elves, soggy elves, fluttery elves, prissy elves extra stabs edition. Oh, and magical girl elves.
yeah, those ones get a whole transformation sequence and everything.
Accurate? Oh, that's amazing. You're right. Spot on. Carry on. I just had to share that. It was hilarious.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Okay, so you guys all make your stealth checks. Although Arian manages to like kick the edge of the fucking rail as you guys are heading over the side. Someone goes, huh? And that's when you attack. You have a surprise round. Go for it.
Let you guys want to lead off on the surprise round.
Okay. Oh, we're not rolling for initiative?
No.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter for the surprise round, honestly.
Okay, well, I just grab the nearest guy and attack. I've got my holy blade of white. Yeah. Got my holy blade. Pardon?
White oak.
Of white oak.
Kinte white oak.
Kinte white oak. That's how it's pronounced. Okay. Okay, so I will roll. I rolled a natural 20.
Oh, wow. You got I crit handy, babe?
Yep.
Okay, roll to confirm crit.
Rolled a 17.
I do believe that does critical with that weapon, does it not?
Yes, it does.
Nice. Well, this might be over
15.
faster than I thought.
Okay, it is a slashing weapon. Double damage and +4 to your armor class for 1 round.
Yeah, basically, you hit this guy so hard, you knock him back into one of the rope coils.
Nice.
Roll your damage.
Alright, what am I rolling for damage here? Let's see. 2d6. Okay, hold on.
Is he evil?
That's a good question. Let's see if he is.
Oh yeah, because I can smite evil.
Smite evil Fomorians, and the thing does extra damage against evil people. Against evil Fomorians, anyways.
Yes, he is evil.
Okay, so you add 4d6 damage. 2d6 because he's an orc, and 2d6 because he's evil.
So 4 more d6.
Yeah.
Okay. So my first 2, I rolled 7. So 4 more. Let's see here. 6, 10, 14, 16, 11,
23.
23 total.
Okay, and plus your strength bonus.
My strength bonus.
And magic bonus, you get +2.
Strength.
What's your strength bonus?
Is it the 6 plus 3?
Now I can add.
Plus 3.
Okay, so add 9 damage to that. So 32.
32.
Shocking. I can add all.
Doubled.
Doubled?
64. Yeah.
Holy cow.
64 points of damage.
I think he's dead.
Squished like a fly. Blap! You basically
And
chop
caved
his
the back
fucking
of his
head
head
off.
in.
What's that?
Caved the back of his head in or something.
Yep, chopped his fucking head right off his shoulders. It goes flying over the fucking rail.
Nice.
Do you
So
get
cleanly cut.
if you get more attacks because there is someone within
No.
5 feet? Okay. Next then.
No.
Who wants to go next
You get
for
one
their attack?
attack. Go, Arian.
Okay. I will go ahead. So, these weapons, you said I get to attack with both of them as a standard action?
Standard
correct?
action, yes.
So,
5.
so who'd she smack? Just a random crew member or the captain?
Brings
Random crew member. She didn't
Right.
specify, so.
Well, I'll go smack the captain.
Oh, he's gonna get the captain's gonna get introduced to the blender.
He only gets 2 attacks, but unless he hits with both of them, then he gets a rend attack.
Well, I did not crit, but that's a 28 and a 27 to hit.
Yeah, it definitely hits.
Flat-footed opponent.
No question. Roll damage.
Okay. So the normal damage prior to the end is 10 plus 24, 34 points of damage.
Sorry, what was that? 94?
No, 34.
Oh, thank God. Okay. I was like, what? Carry on.
And then what's the rend do?
You make 1 attack. Alright, and if it's successful, you do strength plus 1.5 damage with your regular one. Well, strength times 2 because you have that bonus that gives you that thing. And strength times 1.5 with your offhand.
Okay. So that would be an 18 to hit plus 18 is 36.
Yeah, and that's a threat, so
that would be a possible crit with the
with
either weapon. And a 9 plus 18 is 27. You know that crits.
Yep. So you got a critical hit with your primary weapon with that. And therefore it is slashing.
It's either piercing or slashing. It depends on how I hit them. It's probably slashing because I tend to do the blender maneuver.
Okay, Jesus Christ. You smashed him really good. Hack and slash, double damage, and all critical threats against the target automatically confirmed for the next 3 rounds.
Okay.
Yikes.
He survives that long.
How much damage have we done so far?
I've done 34 so far.
Okay, all right. Carry on.
Now, double strength, so that's 10. So that's an additional 5 there. An additional 2 there. Okay, so the rending attack. 7, 8, 9. Plus 17 is 26. Plus 14 is another 40.
Okay.
So that's 74 points of damage so far to the captain of a lowly corvette.
Yeah, he's dead like dinner. Like, it's over. He went like this,
Both
and his guts
lungs
came
come
out.
flying out.
Yeah.
You got to shake a lung off the end of your
Yeah.
leg.
Fuck!
Kick it
And,
down.
and Arian just looks at everyone else on the deck and goes, boo.
Make an intimidate check. Arden, you want to roll before for your attacks before he like maybe scares them all into surrendering?
Yeah, I'm going after the second in command.
Okay. I know Aaron doesn't give a shit, so yeah.
15.
Nope.
15?
That's without any adding, so 6, 2. So that's 29 to hit.
Yeah, that definitely hits.
Cool.
Arden, what is your threat range on that weapon?
It's 18. I didn't keen edge my weapon this time, so it's not threat.
Yeah.
18, 20. For rapier type. So damage is alright. So we got the shocking grasp from the wand.
Mhm.
All the buffs for doing manga stuff, plus corrosive. And then the 1d6 for the weapon. Alright. 10, 20, 30, 9, 6, 1 plus 2. 48.
48 damage? Jesus. Okay.
This guy is probably third level.
Yeah, of a fucking Corvette.
Just running
He's-
through.
Yep,
Just
glurk.
straight in the heart.
You do real,
That's
yeah,
right in the back of the head.
yeah,
That works
yeah.
too.
Goes up
Isn't it
through
ki-
his brainstem.
Yeah. Every now and then it's kind of fun to be, you know, higher level characters beating on these lower level enemies. They're like, click. Alright, make your intimidate check there, Arian.
24.
24, alright.
It's enough to intimidate a 14 hit die creature.
Yeah, the goblins are out. Goblins are done. They're like, fuck this, we quit.
You guys look like
Yeah. The third in command hands you a sword. Looking around at all these assholes in bug suits. The dead people on the deck.
All right, Mary, I'm going to take the helm, take us down.
Avalanche, she says. Yeah.
Yeah, Mariama does so.
Yeah.
Excuse me, she said to the helms guy.
By all means, he says.
They want you on deck.
Right. This goblin heads up to the deck. Actually, no, it's a priest. He heads up to the deck.
Mhm.
Kind of gives a chest-thumping salute. I'm told I was wanted on deck. I'm the pilot, he says.
What's he speaking?
That's a good question. I doubt he speaks Elvish. So,
Probably speaks Elfin though.
yeah. Elfin. Me pilot wanted on deck is sort of how it translates to elves, but
Yeah. Okay. I'll go over there with your buddies. Don't move.
right. He says, goes and sits over there looking around at all the blood.
All right, and we land.
Yeah, there's some cheering when you guys set down with your captured ship.
Yep.
Hey, Arden,
Yep.
do you still have that decanter of endless water?
If it wasn't mine, no, I don't. I don't think it was mine.
It was given to you.
Oh, if it was given to me, then yeah, I will have it. If it was something to keep.
Everyone off, wash the boat down.
Yep. Just give it a good spray with it.
Yeah, body parts go skittering across the deck and fall off the side. One arm gets stuck in the rail for a few minutes.
That lung you kicked off your blade.
These are the things that haunt people in their dreams for the rest of their lives.
So I'll look at the goblin who's standing down watching the body parts running off. I'll go, what's this ship called?
I don't know. I needed a good name for a goblin ship. I don't fucking know. Honey?
The Three Princes.
Add an ES to that.
Neat. Right. Was I being ordered to paint it? He says.
Yes.
Understood. He says, go car. Goes and does it.
Make it say princesses, and then we're good.
That's hilarious. I love it.
At least it wasn't called the Filthy Prophet.
Oh.
Okay, message arrives for Selnar via I'll get back to you in a minute, right? But we've got a few minutes left and I'm going to bring the party back together now, right? Message arrives for Selnar through the emergency letter broadcast system. It's from Celine. It says, VonVin and Xerxes are getting married. You're invited. So are all the Voidchasers. You guys might want to head back if you're not doing something you can't leave.
I would hope
Love
I
you.
was invited, he says to himself.
Yeah, love you, big heart.
Yeah. Am I muted?
No.
Okay.
I hope I'm invited. Yep. Better fucking well be. There's gonna be some little girl who's getting the first spanking of her life. Yeah, okay. It'll be with a mage hand while she's floating in air. Psh, psh, psh. Yeah.
I'm sure it would not be VonVin's first spanking in life. The first one by her father, perhaps, but not the first one she's had.
If Stretch and Barbarossa are still in the chat, I don't even know if Barbarossa made it today. If Stretch is still in the chat, he is, when he goes to report, he is intercepted saying the Commodore wanted to speak to you, right? And redirected into the wardroom where he is informed that his presence is requested and required by His Highness at his wedding tonight, along with Barbarossa and the remainder of the Voidchasers. So that has been given. Yeah, Sparkles had to crash. Yeah, thanks, Moon. I'm not surprised. Right? Yeah. All the Voidchasers, wherever they are, same thing happens. Either somebody comes to them, right, with a message from the Commodore, or they are intercepted as they go to report. Right? Okay, now back to Arian. There's something he wanted to do there. Yeah.
Arian, strides into command and looks at Celine and it's like, oh, it's done. The first one's down.
Well done, she says.
It went about it like you'd expect them. On a side note, the ship was named the Three Princes. So I just had the goblin add and, SES to the end of it.
I wonder if anyone's going to get the reference, she says. It's pretty good.
And it's ready for a crew.
Brilliant. I have bodies to put on it, she says.
Arden's giving it a good wash down right now.
Right, she says. Went that well, did it?
As I said, about like you would expect.
You got prisoners? What are we doing with them?
I don't know. We got a few goblins.
Okay, we'll hold them until we can send them back to Phoenix Rock, I guess. Because I've been reported to by now, right? Or have I? No, I have not yet. Okay, never mind.
Yes, I'm sure you have at this point.
Who reported?
Because Selnar.
Okay. She says, well, I guess we can hold them until we can send them back to Phoenix Rock. Apparently, we've declared a neutral zone there.
Who are they talking to anyway?
Who? Sorry? What?
Who are they talking to on Phoenix Rock anyway?
Oh, the Crown Prince sent a team.
Yeah. Who's the team talking to? Are they talking to like somebody who can get in touch with grandfather?
Yes, she says. Here, as a matter of fact, come here. I'll have a look at the report. She says, let's go into my office. Right? Heads into the office with him, closes the door, and basically gives him the sit rep, which I'm sure Selnar has given her by now. Right? So Daz made this arrangement with the goblin called Ghost, who apparently has the authority to act on behalf of grandfather. Have we gotten the information back from Madrimlian and Crowley at this point?
Yes.
Okay, in the meantime...
They've made agreements.
Yeah, Crowley went to talk to grandfather, who is there, apparently.
Oh, that's useful.
Isn't it, though? She says.
And I see here he says that grandfather reaffirmed that he's only interested in profit, not ideology.
That's exactly what he said, yep.
How rich is your dad?
He has a disgusting amount of money, she says. He could probably buy the planet,
Totally
she says.
disgusting, he says.
Hi, Daddy.
He just showed up right then.
She's unsurprised now. She just smiles. Hi, Daddy.
So could we just buy the goblins off? For like the whole war?
Potentially.
That's
Potentially,
a good
but
question.
yeah.
Is Crowley there?
Yeah, he would have had to have been because
Yes.
Selnar just teleported
Coming to
in.
report.
Crowley's here, Madrimlian is here, and probably the rest of the chat crew who are on Phoenix Rock is here as well.
Buying out the goblins is a possibility, but not feasible for them to safely get all of their people out before they start being slaughtered if we do so.
Gotcha.
And that I can't abide.
Right, because
No,
they'll be
no,
seen as
cannot.
deserters. They will be executed for deserting, yes. So they'll have to figure out how to slip out on their own. But if we buy their loyalty, then they could do that at an
Well, that's
opportune
possible.
time, maybe, she says.
Well, as part of our deal, we could offer them asylum for the course of the war.
We could do that, she says.
And then it'd just be us against the orcs. That might be a better fight for us.
And ogres.
Well, yeah, them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's a face I don't recognize, she says. Who is this?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Aaron Skywin.
How do you do, Commodore Celine Wintermist? And currently, I'm apparently in charge of this outfit, she says.
Commodore, the other problem with buying the goblins is I'm pretty sure they're already under suspicion by the orcs for traitors, as they did not assist in the attack on Evergreen.
You guys are protesting at making the effort of buying them out, she says. Look, I don't want them to get killed either, and I trust them to look after their own skins, she says, but we should put the offer forward.
Yes.
Yes,
No, I'm not denying that.
And they're smart enough to figure out a way out. I'm sure of it. That is actually a good idea. And it may be the turning point that changes this war around.
She nods. If you're up for it, Dad, I think, she says, if you're up for it, I think we should make the effort, she says to Selnar.
He says, I think I will. So Crowley and I will meet with Grandfather and I'll get an introduction. I know him, but not officially.
So how did we end up with an extra private being brought along, she says?
Oh, they, he says, were
Waiting for a berth.
basically waiting for an assignment and got assigned to us.
And he ran into us. Oh my, you poor dear, she says. Welcome to the Voidchasers, she says. You have just stepped in a whole pile of poo. She says, I wish you the best of luck with it, but I'm sure the people will see you to a berth aboard the ship. Although we're probably not going to be assigned to it that long, to be honest, she says.
No, I'm in the works of getting you a better ship.
She says it's going to be expected when this is all done unless somebody undoes your field promotion, she says, which they don't have the authority to do.
He nods.
I like your spirit there, Private. You're in the right crew, she says. Oh my. We don't get a lot of sylphs in the Marines. I'm glad to see it, she says. Okay, we have a wedding to go to tonight, guys. And if you think this is just going to be a court function, look, if they're going to make an attempt, they've basically got now to do it, she says. So VonVin and Xerxes don't leave our sight, period. Also, we're going to want to put guards up around... They're getting married in the garden, at least, which is protected by all the walls of the castle. Thank the gods, she says. But we will still have to watch out for potential assassins, I think.
I think that makes
Avalana.
sense.
What was that, Major?
I think that makes a lot of sense. Do we want to activate the Marine contingent, or do we want to hold them in reserve in case they need to come in and relieve us?
She says, I'll tell you what, I trust us, and right now that's all that I know for sure. So let's hold them in reserve, she says.
I agree, Commodore.
And yeah, I agree with VonVin, but what about Gus?
Well, we'll just have to do our best, she says.
We've already transplanted him once. I'm sure he wouldn't be opposed to transplanting again.
Yeah, Dad says, Quill, Nimlin, can you have a Quill spy on the couple? Quill goes, I'm going. Flap, flap, flap. Lafathere looks at Celine. She shrugs. Lafathere flies after Quill.
And Karak.
Yeah,
Shows up from underneath the desk and takes off after him.
He's fucking shark for especially for Aaron's benefit. This fucking flying shark comes out from underneath the desk, and just as if he were swimming in water, goes flying after the birds.
Is it me or is he just getting bigger? Is it Selnar?
Sorry, what did Solar say?
Is it me or is he getting bigger?
I think so. And in the meantime, Aaron is screaming, "Ah! What the hell was that?"
Oh, don't worry, he's friendly.
I feed him all.
Right, Daz?
Oh, that's just Karak. He's a friend of the Majors, actually, she says. He's a star shark.
Revelsing's baby shark doo 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 baby shark doo 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 doo.
Yeah, now that's going around in Nimmelin's head, too. And I think that's a good place to put this up for the night. It's just
Yeah,
after
we're
9
after
o'clock.
9, after 10 for Arian and VonVin.
And the fun part about, Nimlin being crazy is we can say that the horrible void things are happening in her head.
I know, it's so much fun. It gives me an excuse to this gives me an excuse to say the shit I think. Thank you very much for that, Magpie. I'll just blame humans for this, says Nimblin.
Just break the fourth wall all the time. It's fine.
That's right. Why not?
That's
We
right.
gotta have a little fun.
What fourth wall?
Well, I had
You know
a
anything
great
about the
time
fourth wall,
tonight,
do you
guys.
know?
This was a
Nimble-
lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun over the past couple of weeks, actually, with where the game is going and all the different things that are happening. I hope you guys are too.
Yeah.
Nimlin's just half Deadpool because she's not immortal.
Yeah. You can't get run over,
Of course.
Well,
Yeah, we're going back to space. To infinity and beyond!
Considering
Okay, well, you
the
guys-
fact that her patron's the void, it doesn't mean it's not possible for her to become like that, fully like Deadpool.
Okay, night, Blake and Dawn.
Yep, good night,
Have a good night.
guys. Thanks
Bye,
for
Always
guys.
joining
nice to
us.
have you.
Yeah, and here we are at the end. So, tomorrow is our day off. We will be back on Tuesday for Ask an Old GM at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. UTC and in the UK, and that would be 7 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday for those of you in Australian Eastern Time. I will be back on Tuesday night for Diane Actually Writes. That starts at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. What is that?
1 a.m.
1 a.m.
1 a.m.
On Wednesday morning in UTC and in the UK, and 10 o'clock
10
a.m. for those of you in Australian Eastern Time on Wednesday morning. And we'll be back next week. I hope you guys like the new look. If somebody could suggest someone to raid for us tonight, if not, I will probably raid Coffee Quills. I've been...
Story Girl's up.
Story Girl's up.
Okay.
Your music though. So,
Closet Forge is up. They're doing for the words.
Closet Forge.
Penny
Closet
for a
Forge
Tale's
is
doing
up.
Pathfinder.
Who's Penny for a Tale's doing
Yeah,
Pathfinder?
Penny for a Tail.
We usually
for a
miss
tail.
her if we go after 10 now.
Yeah, it's true. They're usually done by 10
Yeah.
their time.
Yeah,
Nine.
so we'll probably just miss them, right? So,
Yeah.
you know what? I never get to raid the Closet Forge. They're not usually on at this hour. Let's do that.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm going to run our sequence again. I don't know if I'm going to do that every time or if it's just going to be the opening sequence, but I figure I'll do it for tonight because I did things
Hey,
out of
Jean.
order and maybe people didn't get a chance to see it. So, and it does give all the information about all the, all the credits. So, what's that there, Siobhan?
And don't forget to tune in next time when you hear Celine say...
How the fuck did I get into this? Right. Yes. We talked about that beforehand and I forgot. Yes. Okay, awesome. And there was one more thing I wanted to mention. Yes. Quick hello, goodbye. If you guys have anything you want to promote, then, and feel free to drop your links as we go to the closing credits here. Start with Rowan. I know she's got her channel.
Yeah, that's right. Rowan will be streaming Salem the Game on Monday. I usually do Mondays. This Monday was debatable, but it turns out that I get to do it this Monday, but it wasn't put on my schedule because I wasn't sure. 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
It's 8 o'clock Pacific. That's 11 Eastern. That's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Just in UTC in the UK, and 1 o'clock in the morning in Australian Eastern Time.
Yeah, go ahead and drop your link there, hun.
Yeah, I was just grabbing it, actually. I don't have all these things handily sat somewhere. I really should.
Just make it like a notepad document with it.
That's pretty much what I was thinking, Tess.
Yep.
With a shortcut on your desktop.
Coming soon
yes.
to a channel near you. We have not yet determined where it will be streamed, but it will be streamed. It will be the Toy Soldiers Stalwart Saga. Also,
Toy Soldiers Stalwart Saga. Old school. Toy Soldier old school Stalwart Saga.
Nah, just Toy Soldiers Stalwart Saga. Long enough name.
Yep,
yeah,
that's true.
But also set in the old school time period, is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Basically congruent with the current Toy Soldier Saga.
Yep. TSSS. Yeah. Exactly. Yep, it's we're still hammering out the details, but basically the wonderful people that you have gotten to enjoy as our chat crew are going to be the main PCs in the campaign. Chris and Rowan are going to be running it, and Aaron and I are going to be available for lore purposes, but really it's their show.
Yeah. I will show up probably for session 0 and session 1, and intermittently thereafter, or just sit in and
help keep things consistent.
Yep.
Yeah.
We will keep you informed if when we know for sure what channel we're going to be on. We'll let you know for sure, but we're debating pros and cons at the moment, and also we'll let you know the schedule when it is finalized. So keep an eye out on this channel, and in this stream we will definitely inform you guys as to when it is, or come visit us at our Discord. The link there is in the chat, and we'll be happy to keep you informed there as well. All right, and anybody else got anything they want to promote before we go?
Magpie rickrolled
I saw that. That's hilarious.
I'm surprised somebody fell for a rickroll. That is so old.
Yep, twitch.tv/Eli Quake. That is spelled Kwake for Eli, one of our chat crew members here. And of course, Siobhan the writer, who regularly plays Madrimlian, streams at twitch.tv/Siobhan the writer _Siobhan. That is spelt the Celtic way, and then it is spelt with a clarification for pronunciation, which is really hard to spell out when you're trying to do it verbally, but the link is in the chat. All right, and I think that's it for the night. Thank you very much, everyone. We're going to go raid the Claws of Forge after the credits. Don't forget to shout, "Prepare to be boarded" when you get there, because we are the Sables Privateers, and if I don't see you on Tuesday, I'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.